Texas Tech men's basketball improves to 3-1 on the young season with a win over a really impressive Milwaukee team from the Horizon Conference. In today's video, we'll recap that matchup and why. Well, some people in Red Raider Nation need to take a page out of Aaron Rodgers' playbook back in the day in RELAX. Let's discuss it. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning in to today's video. It's a jam-packed one. We'll recap the matchup for the Red Raiders against Milwaukee, but also talk about why I have little to no concern about this team moving forward. And I know that I'm addressing a very small portion of the fan base in this video in the latter half of it, and I understand some of y'all will say those people are crazy. I would tend to agree, but I do understand why people do have some cause for concern when it comes to certain aspects of this team. But I will discuss why I think that they will improve dramatically moving forward. But first, let's recap this game and be sure to like the video and hit that subscribe button for 100% free Texas Tech men's basketball content all year long. Well, JT Toppin did not score 30 this time. No, in fact, he didn't even get a double-double, and he had 10 rebounds. 7 points and 10 rebounds for the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year. But Christian Anderson led the way late for the Red Raiders, and Jalen Petty was a major reason why Texas Tech really kind of pulled out to a okay lead before halftime. He had 11 points, all of them coming in the first half. The Red Raiders as a team shot 42% from three. I guess technically 41.9, but I'll go ahead and round up on that front. 93% from the free throw line. Again, I'm going to round up to 93 since it's 92.9. And then they shot 43% from the field. Again, I'm rounding up. Okay. The standouts to me, Tyree Bryan had a good game here. I thought on really both ends of the floor, he was physical, and that's something that the Red Raiders are going to need. The biggest standout to me is this, Luke Bamboye. This team is drastically different defensively when he is on the floor in the best way possible. He had 4 blocks in 13 minutes, people. This is a guy that per minute on the floor last season in Division I college basketball led the country. He is one of the best defenders, not only in the post and in the interior, but just all around in all of college basketball. He's not quite in 100% game shape yet, and you could see that early on. But when him and JT Toppin are on the floor together, and yes, they will be on the floor together quite often this year once Luke Bamboye gets into, well, game shape at the spot that Grant McCasland and crew want him to be at. That is going to be a formidable front court, not only on the offensive side with JT Toppin and the lob threat that Luke Bamboye presents in the pick and roll, but also on the defensive side of the floor where JT Toppin is going to be able to use his length against smaller players, and Luke Bamboye is going to be there to clear up the garbage, i.e. block some shots and create turnovers within the paint. All right. Luan Watts, solid in this game. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists. You saw Milwaukee press quite a bit, and this team from Milwaukee is a really good one, okay? They were picked to win the Horizon League, and I know some of y'all will say, oh, it's a mid-major. It's not that big of a deal. Well, if you go back and look at the teams that make noise in the NCAA tournament at the mid-major level, the Horizon League, more oftentimes than not, is one of those teams that's going to make noise. It would not shock me at all if we're talking about Milwaukee as an NCAA tournament team out of the Horizon League, and they may upset someone as a 14, maybe a 13 seed. We'll see exactly where they end up, if at all, in the tournament. That being said, they are a really good team, and they tested Texas Tech early with that full court press. I thought the Red Raiders were sloppy offensively. They lacked spacing. I tweeted it. Basically, the thing that stands out to me offensively from this one is Milwaukee did a phenomenal job of double teaming JT Toppin. They basically came in with the game plan of, hey, we are not going to let this guy get 30. We're just not. Every time he is posted up, we're going to send a second defender, and we're going to see if anybody else on the Red Raiders can beat us. They did, obviously, but it wasn't pretty by any stretch of the imagination. JT Toppin is a great passer in the post. We know that. The thing that stands out to me from this group so far that I think they're just going to have to get better at is they're going to have to get better at spacing when JT Toppin gets doubled and finding those soft spots in the passing lanes for the open threes. Listen, 2-on-1, that means somebody's open, right? When they double team JT Toppin, you have to find the shooters on the outside. JT Toppin has proven he can do so at a high level. Those shooters have to understand those passing lanes a little bit better, and it will happen. I'm not worried about it at all. Donovan Atwell is a bona fide star at shooting the basketball from the outside. I think actually he had 39 three attempts coming into this game or at some point into this game before attempting a two, and he ended up making it. Tyree Bryan, I am not worried an iota. No concern whatsoever when it comes to Tyree Bryan. He's going to be fine. He will make shots. Christian Anderson, I am very interested to see if they run Lawan Watts at the point a little bit more to get CA off the ball. That being said, I thought Christian Anderson offensively was phenomenal in the final 6 minutes of this game. But the reasons I don't have any concern, but some of the ones that I've heard from these, people in Red Raider Nation, and I get the concern somewhat through the first few games. You haven't seen some of the things that we saw last year. But I think we also have to remember, you're thinking about this team when they play in the NCAA tournament. You're thinking about this team 40-plus games in to the season, okay? Think about what we were saying about last year's team that made the Elite Eight this far into the season. Everybody was coming after Elijah Hawkins in the sense that, oh, he's too short. He's not physical enough, right? There were multiple other aspects, including Fetty. There were so many downsides to that team last year at this point. Why? Because they hadn't gotten live in-game reps. And this team is a little bit more different than last year's because they really haven't gotten to practice much together because they had multiple big-time injuries throughout camp and from the summertime. I mean, Josiah Mosley hasn't played yet. He will be a critical part of the rotation for the Red Raiders. You had Lawan Watts miss a little bit of time. You also had Luke Bamboye miss a little bit of time. He made his Red Raider debut in the fourth game of the season against Milwaukee there in the 806. So I'm really not worried about it at all. They're working their way back from injury, some of them, and that also means they're working their way back to really getting on the floor and getting meaningful practice reps and also just live in-game reps with their teammates. Something that in the portal era is maybe more important than anything outside of, I guess, great coaching. And the Red Raiders obviously have that with Grant McCasland, who is one of the top premier coaches in all of college basketball. That's a couple of reasons why I'm not worried. I'm also not worried from the simple fact of you have an elite trio, okay? JT Toppin, I get it. He only had 7 points, 10 rebounds in this game. In my opinion, he's still the best player in all college basketball. Braden Smith is the only other one in the conversation, although I may need to put that freshman at Duke in the conversation. What Cam Boozer did on Friday night was crazy. That was unreal for a freshman. I don't care if you're a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, whatever. Unreal game by him. That's probably the top 3 players in college basketball right now. Okay? At least in my opinion. And JT Toppin, I'd have it number 1. So you have that trio of JT, CA, and Watts. There's not going to be very many teams you play this year that have a better trio, and they're going to have to game plan for one of them, and it's going to be JT. CA can take over a game. Lawan Watts can take over a game. I'm not really too worried about it at all because Grant McCasland has proven time and time again as the Texas Tech head coach that, yes, they may start a little bit slow, right? You think about year number 1 and how they had a bunch of new guys, D5, Chance McMillan, so on and so forth, right? They start a little bit slow. What did they do? They made the NCAA tournament. What did they do in year number 2? They started a little slow with a bunch of new guys. What did they end up doing? Making the NCAA tournament and making some serious noise, including make it to the Elite Eight, right? I think this team is just as talented, if not more talented than last year's team. And I think they're going to figure it out because, again, that trio you have more depth, you have more impactful guys in your rotation, including Luke Bamboye, who, as I mentioned, came back tonight and had 5 combined blocks and steals in this game in 13 minutes. 4 blocks in 13 minutes. Okay? He is an elite defender. That's going to help you. You will get Josiah Mosley back. And once these guys get their feet under them and really get into game shape and work out those kinks that you can only really work out in live game situations, not in practice, you have to play another team. I think you're going to be in a really good spot. So I'm not really worried at all. In fact, I'm more encouraged than anything because a lot of these teams that have these kind of situations fall flat on their face, and they may get upset by a team like Milwaukee, who is plenty good enough to make the NCAA tournament. I truly believe that. They have a really good team, favorites to win the Horizon League this offseason. So, again, really good win for Texas Tech in terms of the non-con. I get it. It's not Illinois. It's not potentially Purdue or Wake Forest, who you will play this upcoming week down in the Bahamas. But it is a team that you could potentially see again in the NCAA tournament, and you could be the 3 seed facing a 14 seed. And this is a similar type situation, albeit on your home floor. You took care of business in a game where, if I'm being honest with you, I thought the Red Raiders, for a majority of this game, outside of a run here or there, played C- basketball on both sides of the floor. And give credit to Milwaukee. They were a large reason why offensively Texas Tech had a C- game in a lot of ways. But I'm not worried at all. No cause for concern in terms of what Texas Tech has looked like so far. Grant McCassin and crew will get these guys to where they need to be, and this will be a premier team in the Big 12 and a team that I think inevitably ends up with a 3 or 4 seed in the NCAA tournament when it's all said and done, and health is going to be a major reason why. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Again, Texas Tech gets another win at home, this time against Milwaukee, the Horizon League favorites, by a score of 80-63. JT Toppin only 7 and 10 in this game. I say only, but he had a major impact on it. But the leading scorer for the Red Raiders was Christian Anderson. And now Texas Tech will take a trip to the Caribbean, down to the Bahamas, and face off against Wake Forest. And if they win that one, they'll play the winner of Memphis and number 2, Purdue. We'll see how it goes. And maybe Purdue's number 1 at that point after their impressive win down in Tuscaloosa, Alabama against number 8, Alabama. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell to be instantly notified when we drop a 100% free Texas Tech football or men's basketball video here on the channel. And hey, it's the largest group of Red Raider fans on YouTube. I don't know why you wouldn't want to join at this point. I did mention it's free, right? And the best way to help support the channel is hit that subscribe button. So help us get to our goal of 15,000 subs by the time Texas Tech men's basketball season is over. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Rickham Tech.